there, this is Datila with Rangers of Wrestling, bringing you the Wrestling Time post show. And for tonight, I will be reviewing AEW Blood and Guts. Alright, so tonight's show kicked off with Orange Cassidy versus Ethan Page. I have to say, this was a very fun match. Orange Cassidy, of course, being Orange Cassidy, and he debuted not a new entrance theme, but he debuted the theme that he used to use on the indies, Jane by Jefferson Starship, as reported by Fightful Select. So, like I said, this was a fun match. I liked the Dan Lambert mocked Orange Cassidy in some parts of this match. And I also really liked that Orange Cassidy was just being himself. Like, I've said this, I say this a lot. Orange Cassidy, R-Truth, and Johnny Swinger are the three undisputed kings of comedy in wrestling. And it's like, I like Orange Cassidy's song, and the match was fun. Yeah, it was a really fun match. Oh my god, so at one point, like I said, Dan Lambert mocked Orange Cassidy with those kicks that he does. And if you saw very closely, Ethan Page flipped the bird. Like, he gave the bird, I think, to the crowd. Oh my god. And then of course, like, Dan Lambert, like, he tried to distract the ref, and Orange Cassidy took his orange juice, took a sip out of it. That allowed Orange Cassidy to hit Ethan Page with an orange punch, and then he spat in Dan Lambert's face, and he hit Ethan Page with a body slam, allowing him to be victorious. So very fun match. Great opening. They chose a good match to open the show with. But I really liked it. So, all right. And then we had Christian Cage's promo. So, as you guys recall, last week he said some really unflattering things about Jungle Boy's dad and his mom and stuff. So, like, we were all wondering, what is he going to say now? So he was basically talking about how he was asked by upper management to apologize for his insensitive remarks about Jungle Boy and his family. He says he doesn't apologize or say sorry. And he says that everybody in Jungle Boy's family except for his mom. And then here's the thing. So, like, if you guys recall last week, Luchasaurus came out, and Christian told him to remember Margot's son. And then he hugged him, and he had like this smile on his face. So he was definitely plotting something. So then everybody was wondering why Christian Cage wasn't dressed to compete, even though he had a match. So it turns out Luchasaurus wrestled a match. And Luchasaurus came out with like, I wish he would have came out with a different mask, but he came out with black attire. And like his whole entrance is like fire, and like it was fire and orangey. It kind of reminded me of Kane in a way. But still, so like this leads into Luchasaurus versus Serepentico, which was basically a squash match, which of course Luchasaurus won. So Luchasaurus turning heel is great. He's wearing all black now, and Christian as a heel is already amazing. Yes, definitely agree. Christian as a heel is amazing. So now it's like, it seems to me like Christian's going to use Luchasaurus as an enforcer now. So I'm digging this. I'm very curious to see what this eventually leads to. Obviously, when Jungle Boy comes back, he might be wondering what the hell happened to Luchasaurus. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Luchasaurus used a snare trap as the finisher to beat Serepentico. So very intrigued by this heel change. I'm really digging this. All right, so then we get a Wardlow and Scorpio Sky segment backstage. There was not supposed to be any physicality between them. And Scorpio Sky says he's no security guard. And Wardlow basically tells him that he should bring everybody from top team, and he will treat them like security guards. And next week, we're going to get a street fight. It's going to be for the TNT title. Watch, they make Luchasaurus take off his mask. Yeah, like Kane did. Kane took off his mask. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Luchasaurus reminded me of Kane. The whole fire and the whole entrance, just I got Kane vibes. So then, afterwards, we had Max Castor in the Gun Club versus Danhausen and FTR. So I wonder what happened at Hookhausen. Was that just like a one-time pairing? And now they've gone their separate ways. I'm very curious. So, like, if you guys recall at Forbidden Door, Hookhausen Danhausen played an As Boys theme song, and so they ended up chasing after them. And so like here you had Danhausen and two mystery tag partners. And I thought because they're in Detroit, perfect opportunity to have the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. And it was FTR. Let's see, I was expecting Hook to tag with Danhausen. Yeah, I think everybody was. But I just felt like AEW missed that mark by not having a Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, they were in Detroit, for Christ's sakes. Do you know how much of a big pop probably the Motor City Machine Guns would have gotten if they would have been Danhausen's partners? Granted, FTR was a good choice, good replacement choice, but they were in Detroit. It should have been a Motor City Machine Guns. So, a very notable moment in this match is when Dax Hardwood taps Austin's backside here. I had to rub my eyes twice because I was like, did he really do that? And he did do that. I was really impressed with Danhausen's Hurricanrana and hip toss to Austin Gunn. I add. By some miracle, Anthony Bowens was able to walk and he got involved in this match. Using his crutch, he hit Austin. Intentionally or accidentally remains to be seen. But that allowed Danhausen and FTR to be victorious. It was funny seeing Billy Gunn turn on his son, so he's going to manage the Acclaim. How are we doing tonight? Blood and Guts was nuts. Better than the second half of Forbidden Door. I'll get to that. So at the end of the match, Billy Gunn shoves his own sons, and it looks like he aligned himself with the Acclaim. I mean, can you blame him? Again, at Forbidden Door, the As Boys pretty much left their dad and Max Caster to fend for themselves against the LA Dojo guys. So I wouldn't blame Billy Gunn for turning on his own sons when his own sons left their dad. All right. So then after this, we got the TBS Championship match. Is Jade Cargill versus Leyla Gray. Good match. Standard Jade match. She was dominant like always. She's 34-0 so far. So we have yet to see who's going to take the title off Jade. She says she's tired of all this bitching and moaning. And Stokely basically says that Athena and Chris Statlander weren't overlooked, that they were just lazy. And then they came out, and Stokely kind of whispers something in Layla's ear, and she shoves Athena. So I'm very... Let me see. I'm in... Yeah. That was hilarious. I might add. All right. So yeah. So again, I don't know if it's gonna be Athena or Chris Statlander that's gonna finally take that title off Jade Cargill. She's going to lose eventually. Nobody stays undefeated forever. Not even Goldberg stayed undefeated forever. Then we get a quick Young Bucks segment backstage, basically saying that the Undisputed Era is not medically cleared and that they don't have a friend except for the titles. They're the first ever 2-time champs. And then Goto and Yoshihashi want to face the Bucks and that they can go straight to hell. So I'm actually really excited to see that. I was super impressed by Goto and Yoshihashi, especially it was my first time seeing them because I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I was very, very impressed by them. And I know this match is going to be a banger. And so after that, we had the main event, which was Blood and Guts. Of course, Jericho Appreciation Society had the advantage in this match. So much went down in this match. Like, you should see my notes. It's like 3 pages full of notes. Well, 2 front and back. But, okay. So where do we even start with this? Okay, so Claudio and Guevara kick off the match. Good match between both of them. Let me see. One of the greatest main events of the year. Appreciate you came by and watched my real live reaction streams. Of course, you always come on mine, Michael. So of course I'm gonna go to yours. And of course I had to show support. You show support to me, I show support back. So Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti kiss through the cage. And okay, so one part that I really liked was that stare down between Jake Hager and Claudio. They like stared each other down and then they went at it. Oh my god, that was a good moment. And I actually honestly want to see a singles match between them in AEW. Moxley entered with the chair. He entered with the chair and he threw it. Oh, he where was I? I lost my spot. Moxley entered with the chair and he threw it at Hager, which was pretty funny. It says Guevara kissing Ty Conti through the cage was cringe. Yeah, it kind of was. And then Moxley and Garcia went at it. They actually went at it pretty much throughout the entire match. Because like at one point Garcia did get busted open. So my favorite spot in the first half of the match was when Moxley, Yuta, and Claudio all have Garcia, Hager, and Guevara and hammer elbows. Isn't those so like hilarious and stuff? I thought that was hilarious. Like that was my favorite spot in the first half of the match. Those hammer elbows. Then Angelo Parker came in next. And Hager hit with the steel chair to Claudio. Okay, so Mox and Yuta did two tributes. So one they did the heart attack to Daniel Garcia, which was a homage to the Heart Foundation, and then later on they did the Doomsday Device to Garcia. Matt Maynard came in with the steel chair and he attacked everybody. Oh my God, Moxley with the pile driver to Angelo Parker on the broken glass. Ouch, that looked like it hurt. Oh my God, and then Ortiz and Kingston came in with the table and barbed wire bat. Angelo Parker got busted open with that glass. This was like, oh. Yuta and Daniel Garcia was slapping each other. Jericho came in swinging with the bat. The flying cutter to Ortiz by Sammy Guevara was pretty cool. At one point during the match, Santana's leg buckled when he was giving Garcia the U-range. And according to Sean Ross Sapp, he did not, let me see. Let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly. Sean Ross Sapp tweeting out that Santana was taken out of the cage and helped up the ramp. So I really hope he's okay and he didn't get injured because AEW's been plagued with a lot of injuries as of late. When Eddie Kingston finally entered the match, like he was whacking everybody, including Chris Jericho with the kendo stick. And like Ty Conti was handed Chris Jericho alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. That stings. And then Hager went through a table, courtesy of Ortiz and Kingston. Yuta came out and with a bag full of thumbtacks. Moxley threw Matt onto those thumbtacks. Jericho put Moxley on the walls in those thumbtacks. It looks like Santana was injured during the match. I don't know. I haven't gotten any updated information. After I finish the stream, I will definitely check Twitter, check any news sites to see if Santana was injured. But if he needed to be assisted out, then it doesn't look good. All right, and then Kingston threw Thax at Jericho to save Moxley. So at one point, Ty Conti tries to get involved. She knocks down the ref that was on the outside, and she tries to unlock the door. Ruby Soho came out and pretty much beat her down, which I thought was hilarious. And Jericho started climbing the cage, and then he was followed by Kingston, who ended up biting Jericho's ear. And then Sammy Guevara ended up there. And Eddie Kingston gave Sammy Guevara a low blow, and then he threw him off the cage. By God, Sammy Guevara was probably broken in half. This reminded me of when The Undertaker threw Mankind off the cage, and And I remember like last year when Jericho went off the cage, there was a lot of criticism because of like the padding that they had. So I'm surprised there wasn't any criticism this year. I think that they did the padding this year. Finally, we get to see Ruby Soho on Dynamite for a little bit. Yeah. So they did the spot a lot better this year than they did last year. Because last year people were not having that Jericho spot, complaining about them putting that padding in the camera angle and stuff. So poor Sammy Guevara, he was out the rest of the match. Then Chris Jericho did the walls of Jericho to Kingston. Claudio saved Kingston from this. Oh, my favorite part is when he swung Jericho from the top of the cage. Let me see what. Because Guevara getting thrown off the cage will be a great moment. That's going to be remembered for years to come. That is true. That's for sure. I mean, even look, we're talking about Undertaker throwing Mick Foley off the cage, even like what, 24 years later? Claudio put Matt Menard in a sharpshooter, and the Blackpool Combat Club was victorious because he ended up tapping out. And pretty much Blackpool Combat Club stand tall at the end. It seems to me like Eddie Kingston was not happy that they won the match. Was not happy that the match ended because he was not done with Chris Jericho. He still wanted to torture Jericho. And it seemed like he was upset that not only Claudio got the win, but the match was over. So it seems like the feud between Kingston and Jericho is still not over. I know this was a blow-off match, but like that's kind of one criticism that I have. It's like you give us this big match, and it's like the feud doesn't end; it still continues. So it's like if it's Jericho and Kingston still going to continue, like why do we have blood and guts? I guess you can say. Kingston looked disgusted. Claudio won. Those two I heard don't get along. Yeah, I heard that too. So I don't know what direction they're going to go here. I don't know if they're still going to continue Kingston and Jericho or if they're going to shift into Claudio and Kingston. Because, yeah, like Eddie Kingston was not happy that Claudio not only won the match, but pretty much stopped him from beating Jericho because he still wanted to. But needless to say, the Blackpool Combat Club and Eddie Kingston were standing tall at the very end. They were all posing on top of the cage, and that's pretty much how Blood and Guts ended. But overall, great, fantastic show. I really cannot complain, honestly. It was an overall great show, and I'm going to give tonight's show a Ty Dillinger, a perfect 10. You know, it was, let me see, 10-10 memorable show and a show that's going to be remembered for years to come. Yeah, definitely. I will say tonight was a great show. They only had 5 matches, and even with 5 matches, 4 short matches and an hour-long match, they certainly delivered. There was not one dull moment in this show. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for your continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow after Impact Wrestling. Bye.